Scales was a British driver who competed throughout the 1910s and 1920s. He also was entered in a pair of IndyCar races, Cincinnati in 1917 and Indianapolis in 1920. However, he failed to appear at the former and failed to qualify for the latter. Here he sits in his car. Henderson was a Canadian driver who participated in IndyCar races between 1915 and 1920. During that time, he won a race at Chicago in 1917. In 2005, Henderson was inducted into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Here he is after qualifying for the 1920 Indianapolis 500, where he finished 10th. Brubaker was a sprint car driver who attempted, but failed to qualify in Indianapolis each year from 1946 to 1949. Additionally, he participated in a pair of sprint car races at DuBois and Port Royal in 1946 that counted towards the national championship, but his results are unknown. Here he sits in his car at Indianapolis in 1947. McElreath began competing in racing at the age of 17 in his native state of Texas. He and his friend Johnny Rutherford then moved to the Midwest to find racing opportunities there. In 1961, he made his IndyCar debut by finishing third at the Hoosier 100. He would start at least one race each year between then and 1983. During that time, McElreath won 5 races and finished second in the 1966 standings. Here he is after winning the 1970 California 500. The first 500-mile IndyCar race that was not the Indianapolis 500. Brown started off racing super modifieds. After fighting in the Korean War, he returned to racing by competing in sprint cars. Brown would start 11 IndyCar races between 1966 and 1968, getting a best finish of 4th at Springfield in 1967. His racing career ended when he was burned in the crash at Milwaukee in 1968 that killed Ronnie Duman. Brown was inducted into the Michigan Motorsports Hall of Fame in 1987. Here he is at Sacramento in 1967, where he finished 16th. Congdon started 28 national championship races between 1965 and 1967. During that time, his best finish was a 4th at Langhorne in 1966. That year, he also finished 4th at an exhibition race in Fuji. Tragically, he was killed while competing in the 1967 Autumn 50 midget race in Terre Haute, Indiana. Here he is after qualifying for the 1966 500, where he finished 25th after being involved in the crash at the start. Lavaggi had a background in sports cars, as he finished second in a C3 class at the 1992 24 Hours of Le Mans and won the 1995 24 Hours of Daytona overall. In 1994, he started 2 kart races from 4 attempts, finishing 30th at Cleveland and 15th at Road America. Between 1995 and 1996, Lavaggi started 7 Formula One races and got a best finish of 10th at the 1996 Hungarian Grand Prix. Here he is at the 1995 German Grand Prix, where he finished 13th. Coming from a background in the USAC Silver Crown Series, Kite began to compete in the IRL in 1997. That year, he was given a 10-year contract with Team Scandia. However, he was released from the team during the 1998 season. In all, Kite started 34 races off and on between 1997 and 2005, getting a best finish of 6th at Las Vegas in his rookie season. Here he is at the 2003 Indianapolis 500, where he finished 13th.